Hello, Year 6. This is your Friday literacy lesson where we'll be looking in a bit more depth at the Snow Walker's Son and what the author uses to create tension during that passage. Some of you did this on Monday before we looked at it. This might give you a chance to look at it again and maybe improve on what you came up with on Monday. I'm going to share my screen now to show you what we've got in store for today's lesson. So I think the author here uses the power of three, or the pattern of three, to really develop the action, bring together description, action, and dialogue all within one sentence. It's a really powerful thing you can do in your writing. So I'll read out the three examples. The keeper hung his lantern on a nail, took the key from a dirty string around his neck, and fitted it into the keyhole. With both hands he turned the key, then tugged out the red chain in a shower of rust and pushed the door. He stepped well back, handed the stranger the lantern, and jerked his head. Now, first thing I want you to do, children, is go through each of those sentences and identify, find the three verbs in each sentence. Okay, so you can pause the video and do that now. Okay, we'll go through now and just highlight those different verbs. So in the first sentence, we have the keeper hung his lantern on a nail, took the key from a dirty string around his neck, and fitted it into the keyhole. Pattern of three: hung, took, fitted. With both hands, he turned the key, tugged at the red chain in a shower of rust, and pushed the door. Turned, tugged, pushed. Third one, he stepped well back, handed the stranger the lantern, jerked his head. Stepped, handed, and jerked. Okay, so children, now I want you to have a go, and on the screen now I've done two pictures. I've given the noun and I've given three verbs. I want you to have a go at using the noun and the verbs to write a sentence with a pattern of three. Children, if you're struggling with the verbs that you've got there, you can come up with your own, and then after that we'll try and do one together. Okay, I'd love to hear what you've come up with, but hopefully I'll see that on your two right. So I'm now going to go back to the camera, and I'm going to try and model doing one on my piece of paper here. So I've got my three verbs here. I've got peered, took, and stepped, and the noun was the little girl. I'm wondering whether we might be able to improve that noun, the little girl, by improving the adjective. So instead of the little girl, I mean, we could have that. There's a bit of option, but how might she be feeling? I'd love to take your ideas here. Unfortunately, I can't, but I'm thinking she might be confused. She's found this gap in a tree. Can we think of a better word than confused? I know one of the favorites in my class is bewildered. Okay, we might even say something like perplexed, extremely confused and baffled. So I'm going to say the bewildered girl peered through the hole in the tree. Now, children, we're using a list here, so we're essentially listing three things or three actions. So I'm going to put a comma there. Bewildered girl peered through the hole in the tree. I'm going to say an action here. So she took a deep breath. That's a bit of a show, not tell. took a deep breath and stepped into another world. So can you see I've used appeared, took and stepped to use that pattern of 3 to really move the action on. Next part then, children, after hopefully you can do that on the 2 right. I'm going to look at another feature that they use. Now this is really top level punctuation. Okay, you can do this. There's not much more complicated than this in English punctuation, the semicolon. And that can be used between 2 independent clauses that are closely related in theme. That's the key point here. Okay, sometimes I see children not using any punctuation between these things. I mean, I can think of an example. Mr. Harris was tired. He had ridden 100 miles on his bike. I always use that as an example. Now, that is 2 independent clauses. We've got the subject and the action. So, Mr. Harris was tired or feeling. Why? Because he had ridden his bike for 100 miles. We can replace that because with a semicolon to show that they are linked, they're closely related. You can see the examples Catherine Fisher uses here. So, the keeper grinned. He knew fear when he heard it. He had no tongue to speak with. She'd made sure he kept her secrets. So we could have replaced that semicolon with some sort of conjunction, like because. Right, on the next page, children, I want you to identify where you could replace the conjunction with a semicolon. So pause the video and have a go at that. Okay, so hopefully you've been able to discuss that. So our conjunction here is because. We could cross that out. We could replace it with a semicolon. The girl took a deep breath. Her nerves were getting the better of her. Okay, the T-Rex locked its eyes on the terrified man and it knew lunch was only moments away. Okay, and is our conjunction linking 2 independent clauses, and we could replace that with a semicolon. The T-Rex locked its eyes on the terrified man. It knew lunch was only moments away. I wonder if you could have a go at doing something similar. You can use the pictures on the smartboard to support you and put that on your 2 right. Okay, and the final thing that the author has used in that passage is adverbs. So something that adds to the verb. It can be very, very powerful. It tells you how something's done. In the sentences there used below, they use slowly. Now, what's interesting about adverbs is they can move almost anywhere in the sentence. So we can see the man went in slowly. Slowly, the man went slowly in, or the man slowly went in. Okay, think about how changing that position of the adverb can alter the meaning of the sentence. It's only a small change, a subtle change. So in this instance, placing the slowly at the end, we're inferring, suggesting, giving a clue that the character has an awareness of the situation they are in, or heightened awareness, and therefore they enter with caution. So as they went in, they realize. It's like it almost happened afterwards. Whereas maybe if you have it at the front, he already knew there was some caution there. So here's another couple of examples. So I wonder whether you'd be able to have a go at writing this sentence with the adverb in different places. So you can pause the video and have a go at that. Use it on your 2 right or on a sheet of paper. And when you come back, We'll have a go at doing. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen again and go to the document camera, and then we'll placing the adverb at different places. So, should be able to see my page any moment now. Okay, so the sentence was, cautiously the girl stepped into another world. Okay, so we could have it at the start, couldn't we? Cautiously. Now that's a fronted adverbial there, so we'd have to have a comma after it. I'm going to say a perplexed girl this time. Stepped into another world. Perfectly acceptable place to have that. Now I'm going to think about putting it to the end of the sentence. So we would start with I'm going to say baffled girl this time. Stepped into another world cautiously. I probably wouldn't have at the end of that one. The baffled girl stepped into another world cautiously. Full stop at the end. I wonder if I could put it somewhere in the middle of. So the muddled girl, maybe. I'm clutching at straws a bit here. We had it after the noun yet? No, the muddled girl cautiously stepped into another world. So you can play around with your adverbs there. There's even another place, I'm not going to write it out now, but the muddled girl stepped cautiously into another world. So we could actually make 4 sentences, all with very different meanings, but that's why we can play around with the language at times. Okay, so you'll be able to do that on your to-write, or you can do it on a piece of paper, just like I have done here. I hope that's helpful for you, and we're looking forward to seeing what you come up with. Take care.